Today I want to talk about the hottest band in the world, Kiss. So if that doesn't interest you, swipe up now. Go, shoo. I have a question, something I have wondered for years, never found an answer to, so I'm hoping someone out there knows the truth. Now, getting to this question does require covering some well-worn Kiss history, so stay with me for a moment. We all know the band's first three albums, Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, and Dressed to Kill, flopped. Which is sad because they all have great songs, classic Kiss songs. Cold Gin, Parasite, Firehouse, Black Diamond, Strutter, Got to Choose, and of course, Rock and Roll All Night. But if we're being honest, those three albums sound like shit. The band had no money, production value was low, and the first and third albums both have that tinny, trebly, crappy, high-pitched, flat 1970s sound, while Hotter Than Hell has a weird, muddy, muffled, off-putting sound. Both Gene and Paul have admitted they do not like the way Hotter Than Hell sounds, but when you have no money, what can you do? What's strange is, at the same time Kiss albums were failing, they were killing it as a live act. They went from openers to headliners immediately, and moved from clubs to theaters to arenas, and they did it all without big album sales or hit singles on the radio. But unlike today, where artists make the bulk of their money touring, back then, album sales and hit singles were important. Because they weren't moving units, their record company, Casablanca, was going under. We all know what happened next. They released their live album, Alive. The lead single, Rock and Roll All Night, even though it had previously failed, blew up, and the album was a hit, moving 1 million copies. They knew they had momentum, and they needed a strong follow-up to build on their success, so they hired Bob Ezrin to produce their next album. They finally had a budget to work with as well, so they sank money into this album, Destroyer, and they finally had something that sounded amazing. It actually sounded modern before anyone knew what modern meant. It sounded thick. Full. No more tinny, high-pitched 70s garbage. Destroyer had meat on its bones. If the first few albums were thin, runny soup, then Destroyer was Campbell's Chunky. Yeah, I just used a soup metaphor to describe sound. Fuck off. Point is, you can still play Destroyer today and be impressed by how good the production value is. Sales-wise, Destroyer limped out of the gate, but after Beth hit the airways, Kiss had another platinum album on their hands. Now they were superstars. Okay, that was the buildup. Here is the question. When it came time to follow Destroyer, they recorded Rock and Roll Over and went right back to that 1970s garbage, tinny, treble, high-pitched sound. Why? Why did they go backwards? It has never made any sense to me. Destroyer became an insane beacon of good production value in a mess of 1970s treble rock, and instead of continuing down that path, Kiss retreated. Imagine if Metallica, after putting out the Black Album, went back to the production value of And Justice for All. Imagine if after Dr. Feelgood, Motley Crue put out something that sounded like Too Fast for Love again. Obviously, I am alone in this frustration because Kiss got bigger and bigger, and I have never heard anyone talk about this. It is my personal obsession, which is why I'm putting it out there to see if anyone else has ever wondered this. Or if anyone has an answer, because the only way to get answers is to ask, and every so often, one of life's great mysteries gets solved. We know that Mark Felt was Deep Throat, but we don't know where Jimmy Hoffa's body is. I know where the G-spot is, but I don't understand why Kiss went backwards after Destroyer. Hopefully, this doesn't remain a mystery for life. So if you have an answer, if you know why Kiss went backwards, if you know why they went from great production value right back to, oh, that sounds like shit, tell me in the comments. And I almost forgot. If you like my shirt, vegan, not really, I just want to be left alone. There's a link to my t-shirt store in my bio.